Hello everyone and welcome to Nerd Geek Life. I'm your host Chris, and this is a story of how I beat Dark Souls Remastered using only a bow. Now before we start, let's quickly go over the rules of this run. As the name of the challenge suggests, the first rule is that all damage I do must come from a bow. The option this leaves me are light bows, long bows, and great bows. Secondly, I must attempt to kill all bosses. These bosses include the DLC bosses, which are included in the remaster. The third and final rule is that no glitches are allowed. I can cheese all I want, but I can't use a glitch to actually kill any boss. And with the rules set, let's get this challenge started. I named my character the only appropriate name I could think of for an archer, Hawkeye. I choose the hunter class as this is the only class that begins with a bow. Waking up in the undead asylum, I find my way to my bow. All too soon, it's time to find out if Asylum Demon will fall to my arrows. Not that many minutes later, I find out that he does. Picking up the Pilgrim Key, I find my way out of the asylum into Filing Shrine. With the Master Key I chose as my starting gift, I quickly make my way to Darkwood Basin to pick up the longbow and some feather arrows. Wanting to get to Undead Parish, I narrowly escape getting boinged on the head. That escape filled me with such confidence that I had to try Bell Gargoyles right away. They quickly showed me who is boss though. Wanting to make things easier for myself, I go after Taurus Demon. And easy it was. Taurus Demon goes down on the first try. After meeting up with an old friend, I'm once again filled with confidence. Gargoyles prove it is unfounded once again. I find myself in a tight spot very quickly. But let it never be said that I scare easy. A couple of upgrades to the longbow later, I take on gargoyles once again. The results differ this time. One time I get made into a spit roast, the other time I am cremated prematurely. The end result is the same though, death by gargoyle. I once again try to make life easier for myself by going for a different boss. A couple of arrows and some excellent dodges later, Moonlight Butterfly meets its maker. Some levels and arrow buying later, I try taking on gargoyles once again. This time, things go better. Finally, I am able to ring the first bell and move on to other ventures. This other venture includes having a lovely cheese platter that quickly brings Capra Demon to its knees on the very first try. Having a terrible time in the depths, I make my way to the Gaping Dragon. Expressing my desire to leave quickly, Gaping Dragon grants my request by dying on the very first try. Lighttown isn't any more welcoming than the depths were. Quayla quickly showed me I shouldn't have entered her domain uninvited. I go back to try reasoning with her to just let me pass. She needs some convincing, but I bring her around to my way of thinking after a few conversations. With Quayla gone, I ring the second bell of awakening. As an afterthought, and with the idea of when in Rome, I cheese ceaseless discharge before leaving the lava lands behind for the time being. Fighting my way back up, I pick up enough materials to warrant the trip to Andre the blacksmith. I upgrade my bow to a +9 and I'm back on my way to find more targets. I find plenty of targets and one big target in a revisit to the Undead Asylum. Plenty is also the term I would use on a damage Stray Demon manages to do to me. After more tries than I like to admit and almost losing my sanity, what little I have left, I finally bring Stray Demon to his knees. Running past all the serpents and trapped Incense Fortress finds me in front of the Iron Golem. Although the damage is low against his armored foe, patience and perseverance triumph in the end. Iron Golem goes down, opening the way to the city of the gods and Orlando. I have reached my favorite soul farming spot. Using poison arrows, I start farming the 6 guardians near the Orlando bonfire for some much needed levels. Doing this a few times allows me to continue my journey a bit stronger than I was before. Poison really is my savior for the rest of Orlando. Just a couple of shots while staying out of aggro range does the trick for most enemies. It's a slow and tedious process, but in the end it does put me in front of everyone's favorite duo, Ornstein and Smaug. I fully expected the two of them to be my first major roadblock, but I soon find out that my tried and tested method of poison and cheese is the way to go, even for them. Smaug goes down, and not much later, Mega Ornstein falls to my arrows as well. I try Gwendolyn a couple of times, only to find out he is a far better archer for the time being. Nothing left to do but to go down into the catacombs. Pinwheel shouldn't be hard, right? Right? He isn't. Pinwheel gives me the right of kindling, and I leave him and his small skeletons behind. Sif proves to be a bad puppy a couple of times too many. I need to find someone else to bully. Demon Fire Sage gladly obliges to be that person. Cheesing him nets me an easy win. Let's revisit Gwendolyn. I buy a ton of poison arrows and Google how to cheese him. A lot of standing around doing absolutely nothing, interspersed with firing a couple of arrows every so often. Gwendolyn finally takes the hint and succumbs to poison. A long and tedious chase indeed, but I got there in the end. Gwendolyn's soul gives me a boss weapon I can actually use. The Dark Moon Bow is mine. I decide to visit an art gallery and get sucked into a painting. Last time I go and watch art. Time to see the mother of all furries. Finding Priscilla is easy when she's marked with arrows. And after her invisibility phase, she doesn't pose that much of a threat. Getting some Demon Titanite is easy at this point. I upgrade my Dark Moon bow and decide Sif needs a dog training lesson. With the upgraded bow and special arrows in hand, the damage is a lot more consistent. Sif has no choice but to give up the Covenant of Artorias. I visit the Duke's archives next. Seat makes me feel right at home. Waking up in a cell, I find out that I can't shoot through the bars to get the cellar key. Well, that's the end of the run. I can't complete Dark Souls with only bow damage. Seriously, I can't. I'm trapped in this cell. Challenge has failed. In frustration, I punch my way out to go and give Seed a piece of my mind. I find him in the crystal cave. He seems to be open to my criticism and takes it down a few notches. The first lord is down. For the second one, I go down to Lost Islet. Centipede Demon gives me some trouble with his extending arm. Slamming me to the ground from afar, he manages to get a few wins to his name. But in the end, he too must succumb to the rain of arrows heading his way. Ah, Bed of Chaos. What can I say about it? It's an annoying fight that should never have been in any Soul game. Some swats of his arms and falls later though, I find myself deep within its branches. Bed of Chaos dies, and I promise myself not to do this fight ever again. Well, At least not for a couple of months when I replay this game again. To get rid of some of the frustration from Bed of Chaos, I go check out the DLC. With Sanctuary Guardian fencing off the rest, he needs to go quickly. Luckily, he honors my request. After a tense 5-minute fight, the Guardian goes down. I did start the DLC full of hope, but I quickly made the decision Artorias will be biting off more than I could chew. Why not try Nito instead? 5 tries in, Nito helps me out by killing his own skeleton minions while at low health and granting me the chance to end him. That's 3 Lord Souls down, just 1 to go. Down in the depths of the New London ruins, I find the 4 Kings. Being knocked out of almost all my animations definitely isn't the way to go. I need more poise. And what is the highest poise set that I know of? Oh, that's right. It's Hevel time, baby! With the Hevel set on, I managed to face tank a lot of their attacks without being knocked out of my animations. They still hurt sometimes, and I do have a few close calls. At the end, I'm fighting 3 kings at the same time. But after a long and draining battle, the 4 kings must admit defeat. Nothing stands before the Hevel archer and lives. Unfortunately, doesn't seem that Artorias got that memo. Sure, his attacks hit hard, and I can tank a lot more, but that isn't nearly enough. Artorias makes fast work of the Hevel archer. Guess I'll have to try something else. So, I go on a farming spree. A spree that lasted for over 6 hours. So much farming. All to do a simple Artorias skip. And it didn't work. I even got a firebow and upgraded it to try Artorias again. That didn't work at all. So back trying to do the skip. A lot of farming later, I still couldn't get it right. I had everything I needed, but it just didn't do the trick. I couldn't face the farming anymore. I've had enough. I was going to give Artorias one more try. If I didn't get him down, I would just have to accept I couldn't do it. And I don't know what it was. Maybe the extra points of stamina did the trick. Maybe the RNG gods took pity on me. But the end result was the same. Artorias finally went down after a 15-minute long fight. With the remainder of the DLC now open to me, I quickly find my way at the door to Manus. But why should I go in? Time for some good old-fashioned cheese. Plenty of arrows and a hawk ring are all I need to snipe Manus from afar. Manus falls, leaving just one more boss in the DLC area. Oh, Calamite, you old so-and-so. Good thing my giant namesake shot you down. Now you face a smaller Hawkeye. A smaller Hawkeye who proves too much for the Black Dragon. After just 2 attempts, I take down Calamite. That just leaves one. One boss stands between me and completion. Gwyn. It takes some tries, but eventually I find the key to beating him. Elizabeth mushrooms and Havel Archer. With a constant healing from the mushrooms, I face tank Gwyn like there is no tomorrow. He hurts me, but I hurt him more. It's dumb. So, what did I learn from this? Can I beat Dark Souls Remastered with just a bow? Well, yes and no. I couldn't get out of the cell that Seed put me in. I had to use my fist. But there is a skip I could have done to go directly to Crystal Cave instead of the prison. And it's a skip, not a glitch, so I wouldn't have broken my own rules. So technically, it is possible. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that video. If you want to see the full playthrough, check out the list on your screen now. Please do the usual YouTube thing and like, share, and subscribe. From Nerd and Geek Life, I've been Chris, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Goodbye, my friends.